Thank you for joining today's webinar, Compete and Thrive in the Big Shift Work Model with Transformative Cloud Communications, hosted by VoIP First Media, your go-to resource for making informed VoIP decisions. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation by clicking on the question mark icon on the left-hand side of your screen. Please don't be shy. This webinar will be recorded and posted to the VoIPFirstMedia.com website following today's session. To adjust the layout of your screen, please click on the icon in the lower right-hand corner. I would like to welcome our speakers today, Stu Kolinsky, VP of Sales and Channel with IPFone, and Abraham Siu, Sales Engineer with IPFone. Thank you for joining us today, gentlemen. The floor is all yours.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and hello out there in webinar land. Thank you very, very much for choosing to participate in our what hopefully will be valuable, informative, and a little bit of entertaining view of the new UCaaS, Unified Communications as a Service technology that is being implemented nationwide by thousands and thousands of businesses. So we'll give you a good, hopefully deep dive into why people are doing it, what they're getting out of it, and then Abraham will, later on in the presentation, give you a live demo of our metrics analytics product and the Cisco Webex product as well. So hello out there. I'll say good afternoon and good morning because I think we have people from all time zones because it's 1 o'clock here on the East Coast. So for some of you, I think it's still the morning. So good morning. And thanks for allowing us, of course, for some of you into your office, and I'm guessing for some of you into your living rooms. So that being said, before we get started today, we wanted to take a little bit of a poll of you folks, and we have a series of questions that will take you just moments to respond to. So why don't we do that at this point?
First question is,
when was the last time you evaluated your business communications? 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, more than 12 months? I went easy on you because I was going to put never. Okay, should we move to the next one here?
Yep.
Okay, are your communications vendors, your vendors, keeping you up to date on the latest changes and value products? Okay, the next one. When was the last time you spoke to your vendor's account manager? 0 to 6, 6 to 12, and I put it in there this time, never. There's probably a little bit of gray area in there, I'm sure. Okay, let's move on to the next one, please. Are you using communications technology to sell or market your products? Okay.
I think that was the last one.
I think that might be the last one.
Oh, there's one more.
Oh, there's one more, sorry. How would you rate your communications provider? 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 being all that they can be? I know some of this is subjective, but we'll get a good feel for where people stand. Okay, I think we should probably have them. Oh, we even have another one. Are you using or considering, and this is probably one of the most important questions that sort of segues into our presentation. Are you using or considering implementing unified communications for your company or enterprise? Okay. I think it's time to get going. Thank you for taking the time to answer those questions. And again, thanks for being here with us today. So the title, of course, is How to Compete and Thrive in the Big Shift, in quotes, work model with transformative cloud communications. And it's a fancy way to say that, you know, our lifestyles and work styles have certainly changed. If you read magazines and any articles, everything is just filled with content that talks about the way that businesses transform, particularly over the last, 16 to 18 months, as we all know. So let's talk about the big shifts that have happened over time. All right, and as we all know, and if you know Bob Dylan, you remember his vernacular, the times they are a-changin'. And the only constant is change. I said that, at least I'll take credit for it on this webinar. So the big paradigm shifts, for some of you who have been around a while, and probably from my picture in the opening act, you saw that my hair is a little bit gray. So I have the expertise, at least, and history to have gone through the 4 major paradigm shifts in business communications. Some of the audience may have seen all of them like me. Some of you may have seen some of it. But here's sort of a snapshot of the big movements over time. In 1980, some of you may recall, they had the breakup of the Bell system. Well, at that time, it was only the Bell companies and AT&T that managed and supervised all the products that were being used by business. We had no choice whatsoever but to use these kinds of products that they had. In 1990, we had the advent, give or take a few years, by the way, the advent of the cell phone, which really fundamentally changed the way that people move around the country and travel and do their business. And also, if you lived in big cities, you'll know it also performed the demise of the payphone. I think there are 2 left in New York City. I found 1. In 2000, another 10 years later, it was the advent of early VoIP, voice over the internet protocol, being developed by a small group of companies who figured out how to send voice communications over the internet, obviously eliminating the need for phone lines and etc. And the early adopters did it. The quality was an issue, but basic hosted telephone systems, PBXs for business, came about. In 2010, to change the movement a little bit into the device side, in 2010 was the big movement into smart devices, including the iPhone and advanced Blackberries, tablets, et cetera, increasing business activity. And that sort of allowed for businesses now to become more distributed and, for people who did deliveries and people who did work outside and could communicate with the home office, what have you. So things were moving along nicely. And then, of course, about a year and a half ago, we were hit with this unfortunate pandemic, and it forced the distributed workforce in the United States. So that unleashed, as I like to call it, the UCAS nation. And the word on the streets is, and I'm sure you're well aware of it, that it seems to have taken hold in the way that we work now. So the rest of our time together is going to talk about how this is and why and what can we get out of it now that it's a given. All right, so today's agenda, we'll talk a little bit about IPFone, our company, very briefly, the new work environment, introducing IPFone with Webex, and the scenario about what the value statement is on that. And then Abraham will perform a live demo, which I think you'll find very interesting. So about IPFone. Oh, by the way, here's our workforce working out of his home, making all kinds of money, probably watching Netflix. I got to find out what he's doing. So IPFone. IPFone has been in business for 22 years. We are a market leader in UCAS, SD-WAN, some of you know these terminologies, contact center, fiber internet, and all the business communication suite of products. We've been a Cisco partner since 2002, so we have the expertise, the knowledge, and the history to perform and implement these services. We are really a distributor of Cisco, Polycom, Yearling phones, Equinix. Those are our 2 data centers for total redundancy of our network to ensure quality of service for our business customers. So we have about 5,000 to 6,000 business logos, about 55 or 60,000 users. So we've been there, done that, and we have service and companies on 4 different continents. So that's IPFone in a nutshell. We'll get back to it a little bit later. All right, so let's move and morph into the new work environment that has taken hold worldwide. So here's a couple of stats that some statistical companies and like Cisco and what have you have researched over time, and I think you'll find these to sort of back up what we're going after today. 65% of the distributed workforce has doubled since the pandemic. So we have a big increase in the way that people work in a hybrid, if you will, work environment. 63% of professionals spend at least 2 hours a day in meetings. To me, that sounds a little bit low. I don't know about you, but it seems like I have maybe a half a dozen altogether, because I think people have become a little bit meeting happy based on this technology. And 75% of which, unfortunately, I'm not going to be part of, 75% will be the millennial workforce by the year 2025. And the important feature there of that is that many of the people that are going to be in the workforce going forward have actually, if you will, grown up on this new technology and find it to be sort of commonplace, something that we don't have to learn and spend time. They get it right away. So it's really sort of an easy transition. And another statistic that I will tell you that I read just the other day, that 80% of enterprises in the United States are considering moving to this platform. So here's the challenges that most businesses are facing today. We want to improve our productivity. There is brand reputation and competitive pressures because our competitors are trying to do everything that we're trying to do. Poor communication between departments. Never before have departments been able to talk to each other, or branch offices or what have you. Sort of a hassle. People are on the move. People are moving around the country. People are trying to get the best job they can, and companies have to have the products and services and technology that motivate them to stay with them. As I mentioned before, you're probably getting bills from a number of different companies who are offering you products and services to run your business. And how do we enable the distributed workforce? And the answers are going to be shown you in just a few minutes. So this is what UCaaS, Unified Communications as a Service, can help you achieve. At least it can address some of the business propositions that we're faced with each day. By having inclusivity, we improve employee engagement and productivity. We can get things done quicker because we can have meetings done in 5 minutes. We can organize ourselves a lot faster by using the technology. Your employees will be happy and your customers will be happy because we can respond faster to their requirements. And we can also be more agile and compete more effectively because we can go to market a lot faster than we might have gone through before through the technology and video and chatting and all the different ways. So here is Stu's views on the case for UCaaS. Or if you are dyslexic, sometimes it's the CAS for UCaaS. All right, so everybody's heard the expression, what keeps you up at night? Which basically is a euphemism for what are the concerns that we think about all the time in our daily business lives, to keep us moving, and what are other people doing and what do we worry about? So let's go through a few. Are my customers happy with my company? What are my competitors doing that we are not? Who called my business today? What are my remote workers doing all day? Are we using the best tools to run the business? Will my internet work in the morning? What if it doesn't? Why do I change my personal smartphone every 6 months and my office phone system is 20 years old? Why did I hang up on someone wanting to discuss the value of unified communications with me? What is this cloud everyone is talking about? And a couple that sort of jumped in at the end. Why does my neighbor's dog bark all night? And am I drinking too much coffee? So those are some of the things, even if it's just the last two that keep you up all night. I know the coffee's an issue with me. But these are the things we think about that we have to have answers to, so let's see how we attack them. So why investing in new technology is a must? It's not something that you should consider. It's something that, in our estimation at least, we need to do. Legacy systems, or the current older systems that you have today, are limited in scope and functionality. People are looking to, as we call it in our industry, forklift those systems out of here and move into new technologies and new services with more features and benefits. The workplace has morphed into a hybrid model. We talked about this earlier. From my point of view, the pandemic forced the issue of using these kinds of technologies, and now, we're very lucky to have had that in place, because can you imagine if we didn't have this kind of hybrid technology that we'd be able to use when people had to work out of their homes? It might have been a nightmare. In our own company here at IPFone, we deployed 5,000 mobile applications to our customers as they had to disperse to their homes. And 80% at the end of the day have chosen to keep the application in place for who knows. Workers and customers use various preferences to communicate, which can fit certain goals. In other words, some people text, some people email, some people like to video, some people use the phone, all right? Some people have preferences. There's an old saying that people like to be responded to in kind. So these kinds of convergent technologies allow us to communicate with people in the way that they want to and at the rate that they want us to communicate. It allows a single source for your vendors, and not only IPFone, even though we won and we believe that we do a great job. But there are companies out there like ourselves who can provide you the entire suite of services that you need, so you can eliminate disparate vendors and getting multiple bills and having to do a lot of finger pointing as to who's zooming who here, if you will. Okay? And now it's not something that you want to just consider. It's becoming an expectation in business to have this technology, because your customers, your suppliers, your employees would be very surprised if you don't have the technology, because it's going to be demanded. So it's something that really is at the forefront. And lastly, of course, your competitors either have UCaaS or they are looking into it. And you know the old saying, you got to keep up with the Joneses, all right? So if they have it and you don't, they have an edge. So the value proposition, because there are two kinds of business that we do. We do internal and external business. Internally, collaboration improves employee morale. People like to be included. People like to be responded to in a timely fashion. This allows for it. Cost reduction in travel expenses. If you're already using these kinds of services, you realize that the reduction in car expense, airfare, and the like, while it's important and it's good to have face-to-face, this, using video and these kinds of services allow to still maintain that face-to-face experience, even though we're not spending the time to go here and there, and the money, of course, associated with it. Sorry. Analytics, which we're going to talk about when Aiden does his demonstration, can fine-tune operations. In other words, one of the keeping you up at night ideas was, who called my company? Did they get through? Did they stay on the phone? Who talked to them? How long did we talk to them? Did they hang up on us? So analytics can fine-tune operations, train your employees, with call recording and the like, and track customer interactions. Who's calling me? Is my marketing working? All right. If I'm marketing something in Chicago, Illinois, and I want to know how many people from Illinois called me down here in Florida, I can find out with analytics. Externally, it promotes a better customer experience. And as we all know, happy customers, happy you. I think we all agree with that. And as long as your customers are responded to quicker, they generally maintain a happy consideration of your company. So how much is it going to cost? Everybody wants to know how much is it. Well, here's how much it is. You're already paying for current services. So one of the things that people don't consider when they say, well, how much is it going to cost me to move to this? So do you know how much? Most business owners do not. They can maybe take a guess, but I would suggest that it's in everybody's best interest to know how much we're spending from all the vendors and all the products and services that are currently in place on a monthly basis. When are your contracts up? Same thing. I've been doing this a very long time, and I've asked hundreds of enterprise executives, when do they think their contracts are up with these kinds of products and services, and most of them just do not know. It's important that someone knows, because when those contracts are up, you can usually negotiate, as you well know. The subscription model, which is really what we're talking about, is that you don't really buy services anymore. What we're doing is subscribing to them on a monthly basis or on an annual basis, whichever you prefer and whatever available. But the point is, and what's important is it's scalable. because your business is going to change. You're going to add people or you're going to eliminate people. And these services are designed to move with your company so you only pay for the services used. It's much more efficient. And there are intangible costs, and you know what they are in your own company. Things like time, efficiency, and what have you come into play, and you can't really quantify them, but they're certainly part of the equation. So the bottom line here is that the real cost from a money standpoint is the difference of what it's costing you now to do these kinds of activities to what's proposed. And I think that you'll find that the difference is not that much and certainly worth your appraisal. So let's go to the bottom line. It's way more expensive not to take action, in our opinion. And there are those businesses who have adopted UCaaS, and ladies and gentlemen, those who will. Period. So let's move on to some product and some hard information here. Introducing IPFone with Cisco Webex. This is our flagship product, which is basically our solution for businesses to have a wraparound hosted cloud-based convergence technology that they can use in their business to make it better. So there are three really categories of what it offers to you. Number one, hosted PBX calling, which is your phone system is in the cloud and all the features and benefits. I guess as many of you know what those are. Everything that's happened, everything that goes through our platform is encrypted and at an enterprise level. So this is a business product. Okay, there are services you can use for your home and what have you, but this is a business grade, enterprise grade product for your business. The three categories of messaging outside, of course, of the calling area are video, meetings, and messaging. So all those can be done on one platform, sometimes simultaneously, all right? So these are the three things that are brought to the table. And also, if you can see on the right side there, it is device agnostic, geography agnostic, and it sort of allows for anybody's, whatever they're using and whatever they have to offer to participate in the activity. We also carry the line of phones, and you can use your smartphone with all that. And there are a fair amount of companies now who are going phoneless and just using their PCs or their smart devices for all this activity. So it saves money on the handsets. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to the smartest guy in the room. There's only two of us in this room, and he certainly is the smartest one. This is Abraham Siu, who is going to provide you with a real demo of our analytics and enterprise-grade Cisco Webex product. Excellent. Abraham?
Thank you, Stu. So here we are. I'm sharing my screen for our desktop application for the Webex. You can see that we can have this on Windows, Mac, mobile devices, and tablets. And basically, we have spaces that you can create. You can create direct spaces, or you can create spaces that have multiple people in that particular space. So as you can see, we have a direct message here from Antonio letting me know that there's coffee available. And then I can see that if he's seen my last message or not. I can, of course, share attachments, any type of file, emojis, GIFs. I could even share my personal meeting room. So if he wants to join my meeting, we can and do an ad hoc meeting. I can, of course, see his profile, see his direct number, his email, as well as his meeting room. I can see any content that we've shared in the past. So here's some content that we've shared. I can easily find it without having to scroll up through our message history. If there were any links shared, it'll show it here as well, any links that were shared between our messages. I can schedule a meeting directly from here between me and him. And then on the upper right-hand corner, I can share my desktop or content. I can call him directly with the audio file or call him via video. Now, this is direct messages. I can see the statuses of my colleagues. So I can see a green ring letting me know that he's active and online. From here, I can also see if anybody is away as well. So we can see here that Rosti Bernardis has been away for 1 hour, so he's inactive. I can see that I can call him directly from here, chat from here, as well as join his personal meeting room. So every user can have their own reservation-less WebEx meeting room where you can start a meeting ad hoc, no pins needed. You can just join right away. I can see users that are currently on the phone. So I can see here that Eduardo is currently on a call. And then I can check on the spaces where you can actually have multiple people associated to a space. So here we have one for happy birthdays. So we have about 100 employees. As you can see, everyone's here just collaborates. You can see who's seen the messages down here, giving you that confirmation. And then you notice that over here we have a People's tab that shows you all of the members associated to this space. So this is really useful to avoid having to have hundreds of people sending happy birthday emails across your email server. So this will save you a lot of time where everybody can collaborate in one space instead of having to have hundreds of emails every morning over one topic. If I go over here to content, you can see that I can also see the content that's been shared here as well, any whiteboards that we've created. And then if I wanted to and I want to schedule a meeting, I can hit schedule a meeting. And since everybody's already assigned to this space, it'll automatically add them as the attendees or guests for this invitation. It would also check to see if they're available or not in their time slot. So we can see here that Brian's not available if I wanted to schedule this meeting for 2 o'clock. All right, and then if I come over here to the next tab, we have the Teams tab. So we can create as many teams as you want, and within those teams, you can create multiple spaces that you know all of your members of this particular team will have access to these spaces. So these are all of our commonly used spaces that we share amongst our staff, and they will automatically have access to all of these spaces as long as they're a member of the team.
Show the sales team. Show the sales.
Yes, so if I come over here, we can come over here to our spaces, and we have a dedicated IPFone sales team.
Yeah. So this is Stu. So I run the sales force here. So we have a sales team space. So the benefit here is that everybody on the sales team can interact with each other. They might be looking for some information. They might need the name of a customer. They might need to know who's going to be where, when, all right? And they can get it real time from people. So it's highly productive. And I just wanted to show you that. So this can be the accounting team. This can be the delivery team, whatever it is you have in your company, all right? So, you know, multiple people can collaborate together instead of calling people and getting voicemails and non-responsive emails, et cetera. Thank you, Wade.
That's correct. So, for example, in this sales team here, we have 23 people in this sales team. If I hit the Meet button here on the upper right, it'll automatically send a notification to everybody in this space, and we can all start a meeting ad hoc. All right, next tab we have here is the contacts. So here's some of my frequently used contacts that I have. We can see that my CTO, Ronald Cabrera, is currently out of office, and it automatically puts in airplane mode, so he doesn't get any notifications during his vacation. You can see that I changed my own status today to Do Not Disturb, meaning it allows me to receive all of my messages, except it doesn't give me the pop-up for the notification during my webinar. I can also change my status. In this case, I put that I'm in a webinar, so people can actually read, like I throw over here, we have the out of office, we have Aubrey Bernard that shows that he's working from home. So you can put a little detailed message if you want to have your colleagues know exactly, you know, what you're up to or if you're really busy. Here's the dial pad. So from here is where you can actually make or take calls, either dialing by extension. So here's an extension from Antonio. I didn't get that call because I'm on D&D, but I still have the missed call here. And then you can also do 10-digit dialing as well as Webex calls. So over here, you can also notice that I have, it's showing my computer. If I had an actual desk phone, I will be able to select that desk phone here and initiate calls directly through my desk phone. We also have a pool call option. So this allows you to actually have a call. Let's say, for example, on your mobile device, you're driving to the office, you have a call active, you get to your desk, you can actually pull the call now to your desktop and vice versa. You could be working in your office, you got to go home, you can pull the call to your mobile device and then continue your call on your mobile device and start heading home if you want to. All right, here we have now is visual voicemail. So I can listen to my voicemails here in whichever order I choose. And then, of course, I can call directly from here, delete it from here, or even mark it as unread. And then the next one over here will be the calendar. So here you'll notice that I have a meeting room up here link. This is my private meeting room information. I can share this link to anyone. They can click on it and join my meeting at any time. Now, it's reservationless, meaning I can start the meeting, Then let's say my participants have arrived for my 10 o'clock meeting. I can then lock the meeting room, meaning that nobody else can join, regardless if they have my link or not. So let's say one of your meetings is overlapping, you can lock it so you can finish your 10 o'clock meeting and then unlock it when you're done with that meeting. So then your 11 o'clock can come into the meeting room. I can then over here join any of my colleagues' meeting room directly from here. And then, of course, I can schedule a meeting here as well. So I'll add the emails here. Here's my calendar information. It's linked. And of course, you can link this to your Office 365 calendar, or you can link it to your Google Suite if you're using Google like we are. All right. We also have the option for SMS text messages, meaning that if you wanted your business line to be able to accept text messages to your business lines, you can. We can enable that. So here's an example of a customer who's text me this information, and then I replied back, letting them know that yes, I have 2 of them in my office. So you can receive SMS to your business line instead of your personal cell phone number if you choose to. All right. We also have the App Hub. So the App Hub allows you to install unique applications from Cisco directly that they've developed themselves or from third parties. So you can have things to help with social media, marketing and sales. Here's an example of the birthday bot that we use. This bot actually gets everyone's birthday, and then in that birthday space, it'll remind everyone whose birthday it is on that day. So that's just an example of a bot. So you have marketing and sales. So you have things here for like Salesforce and other applications developed by third party and also by Cisco. All right. Now the next thing I'll be showing you will be the IPFone analytics. So here we have some real-time dashboard information. Any of the tiles that have the word now are real-time tiles, and the rest are historical. So meaning that as soon as the call completes, that tile will update. So for example,
by the way, this is a separate product feature. So some people choose to have analytics, which is not part of the Cisco Webex, but this is an analytics metrics product that allows people to, if you will, take inventory on all the business communications within their organization, and they can do it for as many people as they want, not everybody. So it's a pick and choose, and it can also be affected from smart devices off-premise as long as they're part of the hosted PBX. Okay, thanks.
Excellent. So here we can see that waiting now, there's nobody waiting now. The longest wait time now is 0 because there's nobody waiting. On the phone right now is 2 people, so it's active two calls. And then we also have inbound abandon. So inbound abandon is when a caller calls in, it rings, or they were on hold, and nobody answered, not even voicemail. So they decide to hang up. That will flag it as an inbound abandoned call. How many of the inbound calls were answered? 105. Plus the 42, we have 147 total inbound calls. We have a service level here for 60 seconds. You can change that service level to whatever your threshold should be. But basically, if they answer before the 60 seconds, you get a positive percentage. After that, it gets a negative percentage. So service level today is 68%. We have how many outbound calls were answered, a total of 91 outbound calls today. Max held time. So let's say, for example, a caller calls in, an agent answers them, but puts them on hold because they're looking for either information or gathering data. So the longest held time is 21 minutes. We also have abandoned calls while they're being held by an agent. So this is 5 calls that ended while they were on hold with an agent. Currently held now, there's 2 calls. So these 2 calls probably have these people on hold as well. And we also have the longest held time now is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Average abandon time is 16 seconds before someone decides to hang up. Total calls, total answered calls, and then the longest call right now is 12 minutes. Any of this can be changed from real time to historical data, so you can go back up to 1 year of data. And then, of course, I can modify this. And then I can choose what's the name of this report, because you can have multiple wallboards for multiple occasions. It could be for one for billing, one for call center. This one's one for sales. I can then filter this for more detailed information. I can choose, and in this case, I like to choose the call type to external only, meaning I only want statistics for inbound and outbound calls that has to do with an external number. I can choose what type of answer type. Right now I have any because I want to see all statistics, but you can choose only show me the answered calls or only show me the abandoned calls. You can pick and choose. You can narrow down your search even more by call movement. So I can say, okay, show me a call that was moved from an auto attendant or from a particular hunt group. I could pick and choose. And then it'll only show me statistics that were moved from an auto attendant or hunt group or even a user. I can come down here and filter it down even more based on time. So let's say I don't want to show any calls that rang for only 5 seconds, which is about 1 ring. I can exclude those if I want to. Or I can say, show me all the calls that were put on hold by an agent. Fields is basically all the tiles you see in the back. So these are all the fields that I can adjust in whichever order I choose. And I can add or remove any of these. So I can remove this one by hitting the minus sign, or I can hit the plus sign and start adding more statistics, call counts. I can do, in this case, voice. I can do active calls, advanced calls. So all of these can be a tile that can give me more information that will be useful for me. I can then do call times as well. So I can see any inbound or outbound call times only, or average. All of these can be selected and it will automatically resize itself and show you those statistics. You can also add alarms to any of the tiles. So for example, the waiting now tile has a statistic alarm that says if the number is higher than 0, start flashing. So it gives me an alert. I can play a sound. So this way, me as a supervisor, if it hits 5 or maybe more, that's too much for me, it would alert me and get my attention. We could even do an alarm where if you have the application or the browser minimized, and one of these alarms get triggered, it can maximize that window for the supervisor. So basically, it does like a pop-up. We have, of course, scheduling of any of our reports that I'm going to show you. We can do once, hourly, daily, weekly, or even monthly. So if I do daily, you can see that I can choose between Monday through Friday. I can include Saturdays and Sundays if we're open. When do I want that report to run, and what format do I want it in? PDF, rich text format, or CSV for Excel. All right.
And by the way, just real quickly, just to add in there, these reports can be accessed from any device, whether it's smartphone, desk phone, PC. So it's device agnostic as long as you're on the enterprise.
That's correct. So basically, as long as you have a browser and internet, all of our applications are web-based. So here's a more detailed information really quick about the calls. So if you want to see exactly a granular level of what happened to that caller, in this case, the 4th segment here is called the segment column. It has 3 of 3. So that means that this particular call jumped 3 times or had 3 interactions. So I can see here the 3 of 3, which shows me the final result of that call, that it was answered by our billing. It lasted, the total talk time was about 2 minutes and 38 seconds. And then I can choose to go to the previous segment. So this is 2 of 3. And I can see exactly how long that he lasted there. And then I can go all the way to the 1st segment. This shows me exactly what that customer dialed. So they dialed our main number here, which is our auto attendant. And then if I scroll down here to the timers, he was in the auto attendant for 38 seconds. He selected an option that went to billing. And it tells you exactly where the telephone number was moved to and moved from if you want to actually narrow down your results. Next we have here is the unreturned lost calls. So this is a list of your abandoned calls for the day. They automatically turn green in the event that the customer calls back a 2nd time and he does get answered, or if somebody in the office calls that abandoned call person back, it'll automatically turn green as well. So now you know that throughout the day, you might want to call just the red columns, rows here for potential revenue.
Just real quickly, this report is really important to think about. We have a couple of customers who use this product, of course, and they took it basically for this report. We have a giant trucking company in Central Florida who gets hundreds of calls a day from people that want to find out how much it is to rent a semi-truck, or their average sale is $500 or $600 per day, etc. So they found that they put this product in and found that they were getting a lot of people hanging up before they were being responded to by one of their agents. So they took this list of abandoned calls and called these people back, every 4 hours when they get the report, and they get a lot of these customers back, and they apologize. Sorry you waited so long. How can we help you today? And they're getting some of the business back. And the same thing happens. We have a bunch of healthcare providers that do the same thing because they're very, very busy, and they find out maybe they're understaffed if people are hanging up. And no business owner wants incoming potential clients or patients to hang up before they're attended to. Okay.
Next. Next one here, we have the extension list. So here I can have a list of all the users that I want to monitor. And I can see basically in real time who's on the phone, who's not. So the green one lets you know that that user is on an active call. Dark blue lets you know that that user has D&D enabled. And then we also have the light blue that shows that they have a forwarding enabled, most likely to their mobile device. You can see the different columns are for inbound answered, how many inbound calls they've had, how many outbound, how many of those were answered, total talk time, etc. All of this, of course, can be modified. It's available in real time or historical. And if you notice, it's the same layout as for the filters and others that you can choose. So everything looks very streamlined across the board. Fields here will dictate the columns that you're seeing. So any of these fields that you don't like, you can remove them or add more so you can get more information. All right. Next is the active call list. So this shows me in real time an active call, but right now there's none right now. But in real time, it'll show me what calls are actively there, give me the details of the caller, the time, everything of that particular active call. Here's a chart really quick about the summary of half hour. So I have every half hour, how many total inbound calls, and as well by half hour for inbound or outbound. Calls by day. So this is one that I have set for last month. So this is the month of June. So every day, total numbers of how many inbound calls and outbound calls there were. And then we have a dashboard. This allows you to stitch any of the reports that I've shown you into a single dashboard. So as you can see, I have 3 reports currently selected here. So we have the wallboard, we have the extension list, and we have the abandoned call list. I can, of course, edit that. And you can actually stitch up to 6 different reports if you wanted to. So I can come over here to the plus sign, select any of these reports that I want from any of these other ones that I have, and it'll actually show it and update it. So right now we have 5 total. It'll auto adjust itself and load those 5 different reports I selected. All right, back to you, Stu.
Okay, so it's a the product demos sometimes, if you haven't seen this kind of thing before, there's a lot to consume. But let me just assure you that most of the companies who implement these, particularly the analytics product, which we have hundreds of customers who are actively using it, pick and choose and customize the reports or the information that they want. So, it seems like a lot. Abraham went through most of the opportunities, but a lot of the companies that use it pare it down to really fits their particular requirements, okay? And just as an aside, IPFone understands that this is new to many, many businesses. So we do proactive training, ongoing training, video training, and webinar training for all of our new customers. So even when you hire or change employees, someone comes on board and we do retraining with them. So we don't leave any of our customers sort of hanging out there on how to use this stuff, if you will. Okay? So thank you, Abe. That was great. So a little bit of a wrap up, about our company. We're here to tell you that, we know that there are competitors out there, but, we feel very strongly that we are a sourceful and resourceful candidate for your business. And we offer 3 items here. 1 product, as I mentioned before, we have a complete set of products. So you have, 1 back to pat and 1 throat to choke, okay? You have 1 bill from 1 party, so there's no finger pointing. So, and 1 company to deal with. And just a little bit about our employees. The average employee of our company has been here north of 5 years. We have about 100 employees. They like it here. We try to, practice what we preach with what we talked to you about today. And I think you'll find us to be a very friendly and resourceful company to deal with, to take care of our customers for the long term. Okay? On-site installation, no matter what you get from us, we send out a tech to implement it. As I mentioned before, we do training on every product and service on an ongoing basis. Our mantra is, if you like us for the first 10 days, you'll like us for the next 10 years. And we back that up We back that up with an unconditional 6-month satisfaction guarantee for all new customers on all of our products, which is really unique in the industry. Okay, so next steps. I hope you enjoyed our presentation today and you found it had some value for you, maybe opened some eyes, maybe convinced you that maybe it's a good time to entertain considering these products and services. We hope you choose us to do that with, or at least part of it. So we can give you a demo. If you look at that, the email contact there, please send us an email. That's me, and I'm going to give you my private number right now if you want it. 561, or if you don't, frankly, 939-6699. 561-939-6699. We'd love to hear from you on any front, and it's been really our pleasure today. So at the end, all we want to tell you is, if you choose to implement IPFone, you'll get a good night's sleep. Okay? Thank you for your time today, ladies and gentlemen. We hope it was of value, and we'll take any Q&A. I think you've been able to put some of those on during the course of the presentation. So I'll turn it back.
All right, let's take a look at if there's any questions for us. It looks like we're good for Q&A.
Must have been really inclusive. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks for joining today, everyone. We will be in touch regarding your lunch. We hope you enjoyed today's session and look forward to seeing you at the next event. You may now disconnect and have a great day.